Hi, I'm Avery Miller, and today I'm going to be reviewing Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut. Um, so my first impression of this book was that it kind of read like stories your grandpa or your dad would tell you, like about a war, but like in a way that it's like their thoughts rather than what they would actually tell you, because a lot of what you read is in his mind, not what he's saying. He doesn't verbalize a lot to like his wife or a lot of people, and when he does, he doesn't like go into details when you're getting the flashbacks from his war days. And the way it was written is unlike anything I've ever read before, just because of how seamless the transitions become. And I mean, it kind of has like the way of doing it because of, I mean, the aliens in the book. Um, but I mean, dissecting that, I think that's obviously his PTSD. Like, that's how he copes with it. He thinks that he's unstuck in time, when in reality, he just keeps. I think it's kind of told from the future, and like every time he's had like a flashback, like he thinks that he's being unstuck in time and being brought back to that and having to relive it because he continues. He keeps saying like, I knew I was going to, like, the plane was going to crash, but I mean, he didn't because, like, I mean, he wouldn't have been able to know that. And I think it was like him having a flashback of that, and now that he's like back in his shoes, now he knows. But I mean, I could be reading it wrong. Maybe there are aliens in this book, but I really don't think so. And I really think I don't know. There's a lot of ways you could read it, and I'm pretty sure that the PTSD is probably the best bet of what the aliens kind of mean, because like he was really into sci-fi books by this one guy, and that kind of like as soon as he did survive the plane crash and he goes to a bookstore right after, he picks up one of his old friend's books and starts reading it, and you realize like, oh, he like it kind of aligned with what he was like reading then right after the crash, kind of aligned with what he thought was his alien um like experience. Like it was like, oh, these people have this similarity with the aliens, like, and then the unstuck in time was kind of hinted at in another book, and then the one he was in like there was a back room in the bookstore, and he would like this one girl claims to have been on taken by aliens with him is like a famous um actress, I think, who got she was abducted, or well, like in this she was abducted with him and like been put in a zoo or whatever, but in reality she's missing as well. But if she's missing in real life, why wasn't he missing for actual months? And he was just, I don't know. It just like it doesn't really make sense if you think about it. Let me read some of the other notes I made. Oh, the one line that I loved was "so it goes." After every single time it mentions death, he just goes, "So it goes," because that's like he says that it's what the aliens taught him, but in reality, he's so numb to death as a soldier that he just whatever. It goes on, life goes on, and just the horrors he saw in war. This is such an anti-war book because of like because of everything, honestly. Oh, the one part I really thought was interesting was when the author broke the fourth wall, and he was like, the one I put in quotes, that was I, that was me, that was the author of this book, talking about a guy who like, because they went a really long time without food, and then when they finally did get food, it just would like they'd either be throwing up or it just go right through them because they're so nutrient deprived that like that's what would happen. Like if you go like 10 days without food and you are given a huge feast, you're gonna like you can die from overeating. Um, oh, I wrote, so the way that this book's written, it's like you're getting pulled backwards, forwards, you're being jolted all around his life. And that kind of reminded me of how the Truffaloids, I think it was called, the aliens, how they viewed life, and how they all like apparently read a book. When they read a book or watch a movie, they read it all like at different, like all at once. But since their time is like linear, I'm explaining this kind of bad, but I was just saying that it felt like I was learning his whole life. Like you learn about, spoiler alert, his death like halfway through the book. So like it's not like it's unknown. You kind of know his whole life while reading it, and that's not technically what's the most interesting. It's just the stories you're being presented. But overall, I really, really liked this book, and this was definitely one of the better ones I've read. So, yep, thanks.